Okay, this is the biggest flex I think I've ever seen.
This is Sportscentre.
Hey, I'm Marissa Roberto, and tonight's Raps-Knicks game should be interesting. Sure, every divisional game is important, but we feel like this one could have a little extra spice. And not just because their first contest since that whole, lawsuit situation. But yeah, sort of because of that. So about that lawsuit, there are a lot of elements just straight out of a reality TV show. Like how the Knicks want $10 million from the Raps, and how the Knicks think the commissioner might be compromised due to his relationship with Raps minority owner Larry Tannenbaum. But yeah, there are a lot of elements to this unprecedented lawsuit between these two teams. And we, the fans, just have to let things play out to see what happens. But about the Knicks on the court, dare we say they are uncomfortably good. Well, at least defensively. They're 4th best in defensive rating, best in the league in defensive rebound percentage, and 3rd in opponent points in the paint. But don't despair, Raps faithful, because offensively the Knicks, not so great. The Raps outpace them in a number of categories, especially in the paint. So the game plan for Toronto seems pretty clear. You can catch all the action beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight on TSN. Every NHL game except for one is at the 20-game mark so far this season. So we thought it'd be a great time to take stock of where things are around the league. Let's start in the Metro, which features a team leading the points percentage, the New York Rangers. That might be the least surprising part of the division though. Surprises the teams probably aren't happy with. Canes are in second, but probably have not loved their up and down start so far. The Devils have been battling injuries to their best players, which explains the spot they're in. Surprising in a good way though, how about those Washington Capitals? A lot of people counted them out this year, but they sit 3rd in the division right now, despite literally having the worst power play in the league. A spot they're used to picking up a lot of cookies. Alex Ovechkin, the league's all-time leader in power play goals, only has 1 so far this year. But the Atlantic has been referred to as the toughest division in hockey. They've come down to earth a bit in their last 10, but the Bruins still refuse to go away and continue to look like the perennial contenders we are used to, and despite losing Bergeron and Krejci. While the Leafs are having their regularly scheduled up and down start, and are currently tied with Detroit. Detroit looks like they've taken a step forward, and they've just added Patrick Kane. But what about the Sens and Sabres? Wasn't this supposed to be the year they took a step forward too? It hasn't looked that way for either squad. The Central is the only division in hockey that has kind of followed the script. Stars and Avs are the class of the division, but the best story so far has to be those Winnipeg Jets, who I suppose deserve more flowers than they're getting, despite now being on a 3-game losing streak. Now from the least surprising to the most, the Pacific Division has been a ride this year. We all knew how good the Golden Knights were going to be, coming in and defending their Stanley Cup. But who on earth expected this from Vancouver? Well, I expected this from Quinn Hughes, but that was just me. 3 of the league's top 10 scorers are Canucks, and they've scored 10 more goals than anyone else. Plus, the Kings have proved they're a serious team this season too. They are monstrous defensively, with the best PK in the league, and have allowed the least amount of goals. And then there's those Alberta teams. Understatement to say the Oilers started as the biggest surprise when they were the 2nd worst team in the league, with a fired coach and a goalie in the AHL. But they've since pulled it together and have now won 4 in a row. We've said it a couple times already this week. The Oilers are back. So there's just 2 games in the NHL tonight. And seriously, what is this schedule even about? But anyway, there's 1 Canadian team in action, the only club in the league that has not reached the 20-game mark. And that's your Ottawa Senators. We haven't seen the Sens since that game. You know the one. Roll the clip.
Every player on the ice has a 10-minute misconduct among other penalties.
Every player on the ice is a 10-minute misconduct among other penalties. Like, have you and will you ever hear that in a professional hockey game ever again? That was incredible. So that was 4 days ago. But hopefully the Kachuk Bowl hangover has worn off, because your boys, they need a win. We all know it's been tough sledding for the nation's capital this season, but hopefully the return of Thomas Chabot will give them some juice. Not surprisingly, the boys are better when they've got number 72 on the blue line, especially on special teams. And if they somehow need more motivation, this is Jonas Korpisalo's first trip back to Columbus, since he was traded before the deadline last season. So win it for Corpy, guys! Fans in the Sens region can tune in to TSN tonight for the game at 7 p.m. It's Friday, so you know what that means. Time to unlock all those gambling nuggets. To help you out on Sunday, it's time for FanDuel Fast Facts. And we've got an absolute monster of a game as the Eagles host the Niners in an NFC Championship game rematch. And that's where most of our focus will be today. So let's toss 40 seconds on the play clock and see how many of these I can get through. I'm just gonna let you know from right now for free. It's not gonna be great for me today, okay? I had a little night last night. Don't come after me. Anyway, here we go. Favorites were 12-4 against the spread in Week 12. As far back as we can look, favorites have never gone 13-3 ATS in a single week. With Seattle's win last night, dogs are 1-0 to start Week 13. The Eagles are 2.5-point road dogs for Sunday's NFC Championship rematch and plus 126 on the money line. Jalen Hurts has won 14 straight regular season games versus a team with a winning record entering the game. Tied for the longest streak by any QB, or see, he puts things in brackets, which is actually really annoying. The 49ers are 8-0 with a healthy Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel in 2023. Hurts is the first QB in NFL history with 10-plus rush TD in 3 straight seasons. Only 9 running backs have had a longer streak in NFL history. George Kittle is averaging 90.2 receiving yards per game in his last 5 games. Okay, well, whatever. All right, so I got 6, tied my previous high score, which honestly I feel like is pretty amazing considering I didn't think I'd get more than 3 today, as I did have a night last night at the Leafs game. If you saw my story, you know, okay? It is quite unhinged. And just a reminder, you can watch that game Sunday on CTV at 4:25 Eastern, 1:25 Pacific.
Now, let's get back to the fact that you two are roommates.
Time now for my favorite segment and yours on We Love Sports Today.
Why we love sports today.
And if the Hallmark movies I know you're watching aren't hitting you in the feels, then this has to. Just listen to this unbelievable story about Mitchell Robinson and his high school basketball coach.
Now, let's get back to the fact that you two are roommates this season. How did that come together?
You know, first of all, my wife passed away in September. And Mitchell, when my wife's in the hospital, Mitchell came each day to visit her and came very close to myself and my wife. And after the funeral, Mitchell told everyone that he was going to bring me to New York with him. He said, Coach, there's no reason you stay down here in Louisiana anymore. You come to New York with me and enjoy yourself and get your mind back straight, because you know how much you love your wife, how much I loved your wife, and it's just been a great situation.
Okay, yes, this is why we love sports. I feel like I set that up to be funny. It was not funny. It's just sweet, okay? It's just sweet. And really, isn't this the kind of way you want to feel before you go into the weekend? That's all for today. We see you right back here Monday, 3 Eastern, no Pacific. Have a good one.